started? Oh. So, just on a grand opening for those who it's their first time. So every week we try to find a different topic. Sometimes it's topics that continue from one into the next. Sometimes not. Usually not. Even if they continue from one to the next, you don't have to be in 1 week in order to understand the next week. So we arrange it in a way that even if 1 week happens to be you can't come, you still got to come the next week. Because you can't say, yeah, I missed that topic. So the shir today, before we start, a very, very important member of the shir, one of the Kavua people, sponsored it. I want to give him a bracha, and he's a very, very, modest, tsanua, what is the word, modest? Modest person. He doesn't want me to announce who he is. It's like Moshe Rabbeinu, he's a modest person. But he wants it, his children, they should have health, they should have peace, and they should have growth in ruchnius. Amen. Amen. All right. So we'll start today the shir. Very interesting story I have to share with everybody. Don't learn from this story halacha l'maisa anything. Of course, if you have any questions, there's a Mara De'asher you can ask. I'm not taking responsibility. But I would say a story, 2 stories, 3 stories. All right, so the first story is last week I had a guest at my Shabbos table. And the guest was saying about she met somebody that was not religious, but on Shabbos, Bruchim Abayim. Just want to introduce. I said you're not from far. What's your name? I forgot. Yeah, Josh. So Josh said he came from OM 5th, and I said it's not so far. But OM 5th is very far. It's even the other side of Coney, even the other side of Ocean Parkway, right? It's very far. But I want to welcome my brother-in-law who came from Pittsburgh, all the way from Pittsburgh. Okay, he didn't come for the shir, but Agav, he's here. So welcome aboard. All right, so I want to start. The first story I'll start with is last week I had a guest at my Shabbos table, and she was saying that she met someone who wasn't religious, and he was saying that he's not religious, but on Shabbos, for Shabbos, or I don't know for Shabbos, but on Shabbos they're a little more religious. So what do they do on Shabbos because they're more religious? The thing they were doing was they put on Tefillin on Shabbos. They were totally not religious. So on Shabbos, just for the, Shabbos, they were doing more religious things. So that was the day they chose to put on Tefillin. And this guest was saying that, she didn't want to say anything to the person that, you should put it on Sunday or Friday or Monday, but, not Shabbos. She didn't want to hurt the feelings of this person. But she was saying that it's a chaval, he's already doing a mitzvah, let him do it in the right day, not in the wrong day, that it doesn't really count. That's what she was saying. So we'll see in today's shir that it's not so simple. This inyan, this nekuda of tefillin on Shabbos, of this particular person, is not so simple that he's doing something wrong, that he's putting on the tefillin. And we'll see in a minute. I want to lead to the next story. I said I had 3 stories, but I only remember 2 now. So maybe in the middle, all of a sudden, another story will pop out. But Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, he was one of the great Rabbanim. We know him more as the person who led the Musar movement. So in Am Yisrael, everyone, or many people used to learn Torah, do mitzvos, but they didn't have some focus on self-improvement. And he was the one that went around Europe, he went around to different communities, he went to yeshivas, and he was trying to change the world, and he succeeded. Many, many yeshivas that we know, like Slobodka, and the Mir, and Kelm, and Telz, and all these were influenced by Rabbi Yisrael Salanter and his Talmidim. And they all enforced in their yeshivas something that's called Musar Seder. And it wasn't so simple. There were many people that were against it. It was this new thing of self-improvement. You're making a whole learning out of it. But this Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, he went all around Europe. And there's many stories when he got to this community and I got to that community. So one of the interesting stories about him is he came to Paris. And back in the day in Paris, it kind of was like, I'll say America in the 1930s. That there were many, many religious Jews that on Shabbos, because of Parnasa, they used to go to work. So they still were religious people, But because of the parnasa, on Shabbos they used to go out and work. So Rabbi Yisrael Salanter came to Paris. This is the story I heard about Rabbi Yisrael Salanter once. And he told them, you Jews that are going to work on Shabbos, you have to put on tefillin on Shabbos. This is what he told them. He told them, Allah Chalamaisa. We'll see soon where is this whole thing coming. And basically, we could start with the question of, we all know we don't put on tefillin on Shabbos. I mean, I don't know if we all know, but we don't put on tefillin on Shabbos, besides for that individual that my guest was mentioning, but we don't put on tefillin on Shabbos. And the question is, what is the reason, why don't we put on tefillin on Shabbos? What is the reason?
Shabbos is nose.
Excellent.
Kedusha. It's we already have the level of Kedusha on Shabbat that we don't need an extra level of Kedusha.
Very good. What you're saying is similar to the Zohar. The Zohar says such a thing, and we'll get there maybe later. All right. So it's a Gemara, the Huji Buji stuff, but this Huji Buji is brought down in the Beis Yosef, so it's not so Huji Buji. So it starts. It's basically before we run to all these Zohar. There's a Gemara. A Gemara talks about it. Gemara Bavli in two places. One Gemara in Eruvin, one Gemara in Menachos. But basically, the Gemara brings a machlokas. Is Shabbos the time of tefillin or not? And then we say there's a machlokas. What is the reason they're not? Either it's learned from a pasuk that miyamim yamima, whatever that pasuk is, it tells you that not every day of the year you put on tefillin. Again, you put on tefillin most days, but there is days you don't put on tefillin. And what are those days? Those days you should not put on tefillin. It's not days for tefillin. Is Shabbos and Yom Tov. That's one mandama, one shita in the Gemara, one opinion. The other opinion in the Gemara is Rabbi Akiva Omer, Yachol yaniach adam tefillin b'shabbosos v'yomim tovim. Could it be that a person would put on tefillin on Shabbos and Yom Tov? Talmud lomar v'haya lecha le'os al yodecha. V'haya lecha le'os by tefillin, which is next week's parsha. We say in the parsha of tefillin, then the parsha's Bo, v'haya le'os al yodecha. So what is this os? Mi shetzrichim os. When you need an os, that's when you have to put on this tefillin to be an ois. We'll see in a minute what is ois, but these tefillin, the purpose of them is that they're an ois. And when you need an ois, that's when you put on these tefillin. Yatsu elu, these days of Shabbos and Yom Tov, these days you are not chayav in tefillin. Why? Shehein gufan ois. The day of Shabbos itself is an ois. And since we already have, through the day of Shabbos, we have an ois, we don't need the other ois, which is tefillin. That's divrei Rabbi Akiva. What is the os of Shabbos? We all know, we say it in Kiddush, ki oisi beini ubeinechem. It's a ois between us and a Kadosh Baruch Hu. How would you translate ois?
Sign.
A sign. Very good. Also, a letter is ois, but ois here is talking about it's like I would say a memorial kind of
announcement. It's kind of a covenant, no?
What's covenant?
Bris is a
kind of
covenant.
like a bris.
Bris
No,
is a
it's
covenant.
like
It's not. It's ois.
Isn't it about
It's a
There's a
symbol. It's a
pasuk
symbol.
ois beris.
It's a demonstration, I would suggest.
It's what?
It demonstrates
a
something.
sign? Is
We have a sign that
A sign.
announces
Yeah,
something.
it announces something. It's a sign. We have a sign already through Shabbos. So
Bris is a nice.
No,
Bris itself is a nice.
it could be.
Well, that's the second sign of
Still-
Shabbos.
There's a few things.
Yeah,
it is, yeah.
There's a few things going on over there.
Sign.
All right. So this
Somebody
is
finds the tefillin on Shabbos, they will have to wear it. They can't.
what?
If somebody finds the tefillin in the street on
right.
Shabbos, they'll
So,
have to
so
wear
right. We're not allowed. And now tefillin are muktzah, and the question is, they're muktzah. It's not. We don't put it on because it's muktzah. Since we don't put it on, now it became muktzah because we don't. It's not something for Shabbos, and that's why we can't use it. Okay. So that's the. I brought the Ramish Shabru. And Michael Galf.
Olive?
Yeah. Also Aleph. I mean, I brought this, but I didn't know. So that's the machlokas and the Gemara. And now, what's the big nafkamina between these two explanations? Is it a isur to put on tefillin on Shabbos. According to if it's exempt from the pasuk, because we have a pasuk that tells you cannot put it on. So now, it's not a day that belongs with tefillin. So if you put on tefillin and you want to do a mitzvah on that day with the tefillin, it could be a mitzvah Vaera, it could be Bal Tosif. It's not the day, I don't know if it's mitzvah Vaera, it's more Bal Tosif. It's not a day for tefillin. But the second opinion, the way the post can go, if it's the second opinion, it's not an isur. It's just something you don't need to do. You already have an os. The purpose of tefillin is for os, and we fulfill the purpose through Shabbos, so we have it through something else. We don't need that os. So that's the two opinions, and the way we paskin, the Shulchan Aruch. What is the os? Let's just start with that. What is the os on Shabbos? And what is the os of tefillin? So the os on the Pashas, there's different minhagim about Chol Hamoed, right? So there's different shuls. There's I think Rabbi Moshe Feinstein when he
didn't, right?
When he was in Europe, he didn't put on tefillin, but when he came to the MTJ, the minhag hamakom was yes to wear. So he used to put. He changed his minhag because of minhag hamakom, and he started putting it on. I think from what I heard, Reb David, when he was younger, he used to not put on tefillin. He used to, but whatever, stories to hear there. But there's different shuls that are extremely makpi. Let's say the shul in Pittsburgh. If you want to be a chazan on Chol Hamoed, you must have tefillin or you must not have tefillin. What does it go? You must have tefillin. So it's different minhagim of Chol Hamoed. What is it? What does it depend on? Yes, tefillin on Chol Hamoed or not tefillin on Chol Hamoed. Is Chol Hamoed has in it some dina yomtiv, like simcha and different halachos, different hilchos hamod, like you still eat matzah, you still need to sit in the sukkah and stuff like that, but you could do melacha. So the question is, when it says that there's an os on Shabbos, what is the os on Shabbos that we have? If the os on Shabbos is, there's hilchos Shabbos going on, so also on Chol Hamoed you'll have hilchos Chol Hamoed going on. But if it's bedavka, the isur melacha, that you cannot do melacha, since on Chol Hamoed you are allowed to do melacha, you should put on tefillin. And that's a machlokas already in the Tosfos, and it's a Ramah and Beis Yosef, and basically Am Yisrael, every shul have their own rules. And there's just nashim you could or you can't, and the main shul yes or no. Different shuls in different communities have their old minhagim that they came with. I mean, if they have a minhag, but the Shulchan Aruch paskins, the Ramah, the Shulchan Aruch in Siman Lamed Aleph, he says, B'Shabbos v'Yom Tov asur lehaniach tefillin. You should not put on tefillin. Why? Mipnei shehem atzmam ois. They themselves are an ois. Ve'im anichin b'hem ois acher. If you put on a different ois, which means if you put on the tefillin that's a different ois, then hayazilzul la'ois shalaim. The Mechaber adds something that doesn't say in the Gemara. The Mechaber says that you should not put it on. It's asur, and the reason it's asur is we have one ois which is Shabbos. If you put on another ois which is of the tefillin, it's a zilzul for the ois of Shabbos. It's disrespectful for the ois of Shabbos. So that's the reason it's asur. Now again, most poskim or all poskim, when they bring this opinion of we already have the sign from Shabbos, they don't say asur. The Mechaber does say asur. He adds in something that doesn't say anywhere. And this is what Josh mentioned before. There's a Zohar that the Beis Yosef brings. And the Zohar says that on Shabbos and Yom Tiv, a person should not put on tefillin, and also on Chol Hamoed. The Zohar adds on Chol Hamoed, you should not put on tefillin. And he goes into a whole Kabbalistic thing that on Shabbos and Yom Tiv, if I understood correct what's going on, is Hashem puts on tefillin. And since Hashem puts on tefillin on Shabbos and Yom Tiv, we should not put on tefillin on Yom Tiv. It's a zilzul in Hashem. Something like that. And it's brought down in the Beis Yosef, in Simon Kaftes, in the Tur, whoever wants to look it up. And also in the big Shulchan Aruchs and the Be'er Hagola, he brings down the whole Lashon Hazar. So it's a fascinating thing. They go and it's a back and forth. Chol Hamoed, yes, Chol Hamoed, no. But over there, they bring down this thing of os, but they add in this twist of since Hashem does it, you cannot do it. It's a zilzul in a Kodesh Baruch Hu that you are also putting on tefillin. Whatever the explanation is. What that just a very, very, I want to say cute thing, but it's not cute. It's whatever.
Aren't
When the Shulchan Aruch says b'Shabbos v'Yom Tov aser lahaniach tefillin, you're not allowed to put on tefillin, and he brings this reason. So Bir Hagara, the Vilna Gaon, he has Hagos on the Shulchan Aruch. He wrote many times the source of the Shulchan Aruch, and from that many times he brings down what's his opinion. But on this word of aser, he says aser k'moshe kasav medrash hanela. Like, don't think that this isur is because of the way the Shulchan Aruch understood the Gemara. It comes straight from the Zohar. That's what he says on the word aser. So, yeah.
So why does it only apply to the tefillin? How come it doesn't apply to tzitzis?
Tzitzis a noise?
Well, I'm saying how come tzitzis wouldn't fall into the same category?
Hashem puts on tzitzis on Shabbos?
I'm saying just like in Kriyash Shema, it mentions tefillin, and then later on mentions tzitzis.
I don't know if Hashem puts on tzitzis.
Yeah,
I know that.
Tzitzis and tefillin is for lo taturu, not to strap your heart.
Right, but there's something unique about tefillin. When Hashem showed Moshe Rabbeinu, the what?
God doesn't have a Yetzer Hara to curb.
I don't know exactly what it means that Hashem puts on tefillin.
Every time I put on tefillin, I have in mind, today I'm going to strap myself from doing that.
I don't know what it means that Hashem puts on tefillin. I know guf le'esigo masigi aguf. It says when Hashem, when he showed Moshe Rabbeinu by the Yud Gimel Midos, he went in front of the cave and he covered Moshe Rabbeinu's face with the hand. It says and then he saw his back and says, what did Moshe Rabbeinu see? He saw the kesher of tefillin. So I don't know if the story happened on Shabbos. What?
He also said he wrapped himself in a palace.
He wrapped himself, right, very good. K'shliach tzibur, right, yeah. So I don't know, maybe it wasn't Shabbos. I don't know, maybe it's just the kesher. I don't know. But, yeah. So this is the way the Shulchan Aruch brings it down as an isur. So now, based on this, we could understand a little bit why Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, he goes to Jews in Paris and he tells them, listen, you're working on Shabbos. The whole tour, the whole reason that you don't need to put on tefillin on Shabbos is because you have this other oath that you have. But you guys are working on Shabbos. Mimeli, you are just like you are chayav on Sunday and Monday and Tuesday, same chiyuv as on Shabbos.
It's a kesher.
That's why you have to put it on. Now, what is this ois? I just want to read out a fascinating lashon of Rashi on this Gemara. Rashi says, in 1 second, Rashi says the following. Misha tzrichim os. When the Gemara says that you must put on tefillin on days that you need a noise. But days that you don't need a noise, you don't need to put on tefillin. So what is this days that you need to put on? What is this ois you need to put on? Yamim sheYisrael tzrichim leha'amid os al atmam. Days that Yisrael must, they tzarich, put on themselves an ois. What? Lehakir, that they should, lehakir is mashma, that you should know, lehakir shehei machzikim betoraso shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That they are holding, like chazaka, they have within them the Torah of Hashem. So through putting on tefillin, they have to show, you have to put on tefillin in order to show for yourself, lehakir, you should have a hakara, that you are machzik, you're holding the Torah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yatzu Shabbosos v'yamim tovim, shehein atzmam os, the day of Shabbos itself, is a os between HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael. So that's how Rashi explains the ois. Again, the ois is you have to have a hakara, you have to put on yourself a heker for yourself of that you are machzik in the Torah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And two interesting things. The Rashi says lahakir. The way I understand it is for yourself. The pasuk when it says v'hayu le'ois, it's al yodecha. So tefillin shel yad is not the one that you advertise with, right? Tefillin shel rosh is v'ro kol ami aretz ki shem Hashem nikra alecha. It's tefillin shel rosh. The tefillin shel yad is the os. They both are called oaths, and where the Torah wrote that it's an oath is, I wonder if that's where Rashi got the lahakir. It's just a lashon of like hakara, of acknowledgement.
It's the heart.
It's the one that you cover. It's not the one that you advertise. But and just in this note with the Torah, there's a Gemara. You need to know what the halacha is, but the Gemara says that the whole tefillin is Laman Tiyeh Torah Hashem Beficha, and there's an opinion in the Gemara that if you're learning, you're a pater from tefillin because you already have Torah within you when you're learning. Rashi here says the os of tefillin, the sign is leharos shemachzikim betoraso shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That is the os. So Yatsu, that's why on Shabbos and Yom Tov we don't have tefillin. So now this sounds like a cute story on Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, and I don't know halacha l'maaseh if we can use it or not. But there is a very interesting question in halacha. The last siman, I think it's the last siman in Chelek Gimel of the Mishnah Berurah. The siman is talking about a guy that gets lost in the desert. A guy gets lost in the desert. He doesn't remember when is Shabbos. So what do you do? Is every day Shabbos? Is no day Shabbos? What do you do? There's a Easter D'oraisa. You cannot do anything. So what do you do? So Baruch Hashem, we have Shulchan Aruch. So this guy that's going to the desert probably he has with him a Shulchan Aruch, so you can look it up, right? So he said it. So what does the halacha say? Ha'olech b'midbar ve'eino yodea matai hu Shabbos. A guy is going in the desert. He has no clue when is Shabbos. Mona shiva yamim miyom shenosan libo shichaso. You start counting 7 days from when you realize that you started forgetting, and then you do Kiddush and Havdalah. And then, but it's not really because it's Shabbos then. It's just there's something about counting 7, which is a whole different shir for a different time. What is this that you start counting from whenever, when it's probably not Shabbos? Okay, what's with Malacha? They say if you have food, you're not allowed to do any Malacha till when you finish all your food. And then you do Malacha every day, even in the day that you're making Kiddush. Even in that day. But every day you just do enough for eating that day, because it's pikuach nefesh. So you're allowed. And every day you can also walk outside of the tchum. That's the basic halacha. So this guy is, most days are chol. There's some halacha that he's keeping as if he's keeping Shabbos. But all days basically are chol. He doesn't know when Shabbos is. So malacha is not allowed to do any day, unless he needs it for his food. That's the halacha for this guy that got lost. Comes the Bir Halacha and asks, could this guy, so besides for Mishnah Berurah, he also has his tefillin with him, obviously. Could he put on tefillin, or every day is a suffix Shabbos, right? Because most days, roiv of the days, is Shabbos. So since roiv days are Shabbos, every day it's probably from the weekdays. So probably he should be pater. So since it's probably from the roiv of the days, there's halacha, you go after the rov and you should be pater. Says the Mishnah Berurah, in the Bir Halacha there, v'le'inyan tefillin, nira le'anius daiti, dechayav le'aniach boy. You have to put on tefillin. Okay? So he says because of Rav, and he goes on about Hilchos Rav. But then he adds something fascinating. He says, Od yesh svara l'chayvo. There's another svara that we can make this person put on tefillin, to be mechayav him to put tefillin. Why? The haloi p'tur de Shabbos, the reason you don't need to put on tefillin on Shabbos, mipnei sheheim atzmam ois, the day of Shabbos itself is an ois. Ve'imke, this person that every day is working kedei parnasaso, because every day he's allowed to do work, and he must work in order to get food. Ein bo heker, he has no heker, and mimele, he has to put on now the tefillin, exactly like Rabbi Yisrael Salanter told the Jews in Paris. The Bir Halacha adds it as a reason that this person that got lost in the desert, he must put on tefillin. And he goes on into the details. So maybe you'll say every chole sheyesh bo sakana that he's mechal Shabbos, you'll also tell him to put on tefillin. And he has a chiluk, 2 chilukim. He says no, there's people around him that are keeping Shabbos, so it's a heker around, or other malachos he is keeping. But this person, there's no difference between the weekdays and Shabbos. Every day is the same thing. Therefore, there's no os, there's no heker by him, and he must put on tefillin. Then he ends off, but Ach mikom makom lo brira svara zu kol kach. I'm not so confident with this svara that Rabbi Yisrael Salanter used, but still you should do it because of the other reason of the Hilchos Rov that he has. This is just something that I found fascinating as a thing. Now, what do we come out from this whole halachic thing? So, again, I guess if you get lost, you should have Mishnah Berurah with you and Tefillin. But we put on Tefillin every day, besides for Shabbos. I hope that no one here is chayav Tefillin on Shabbos, but we put on Tefillin every day, right? What is Tefillin? So it's a fascinating thing that we see here in Rashi. Fascinating thing. Tefillin is to give ourselves a hakara that we have. The lashon of Rashi, we're machzik b'toraso shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's a sign, a os, a sign. We are machzik in the Torah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's what we're doing basically every day when we put in Tefillin. It's something essential in Tefillin. It's not just the add-on. It's not even a inyan in Tefillin, like, a topping. It's something essential that when you don't need that because you have it through Shabbos, you're a pater. So it's something fundamental in Tefillin. Maybe that is Tefillin. That is what Tefillin is. It's for sure essential. I don't know if that's what it is, but it's for sure essential. So we should just put our mind in a little bit when we put on Tefillin through the week, or when we don't put it on Shabbos, to realize about this oath that we carry with us out through the week and on Shabbos through Shabbos, and we should take it in and then take it further and grow with this thing.
Yes.